Well, it's not exactly what I meant to do. There we go. Shed a little light on the subject. Can you turn out the big light? All right. We're doing our thing. Ben, first to the stream. Good evening. Good to see you. Jimmy Bedford, been missing you. Hope that you successfully get your plumbing redone this week and are able to come join us again and feel like it. Janice Clay, good evening to you. I hope you and David are doing well. We've missed David last couple of Sundays. I'm concerned that he's not been feeling well. I hope that he is getting better. Susan, good to see you. It hurts as bad as a toothache can hurt, I guess. And that's probably not true. Like nerve pain is the intolerable thing, and they killed the nerve, so I guess that's okay, but it hurts bad. Really, really, really bad. But like I said in my text, it was gonna hurt whether I did the stream or not. So hey, why not do the stream? Cheryl is home from work. We will definitely pray for David. And have been praying for David and you. Let me throw this tea bag away before it makes a mess. Be right back. This is already covered into his blanket. What's that? Just refresh. I did have a root canal done, Ben. I had a filling done on last Wednesday before the storm hit, and I guess they cracked a tooth when they did it. I mean, it's not their fault. Like the damage was in my tooth, and the drilling cracked it. That's their best guess anyway. So they took the temporary crown back off and drilled everything out again, and then they killed the nerve. But I was numb, so that part didn't hurt. But now I'm having some kind of the same pain I had before, which is basically like an inflammation pain. But I can't take NSAIDs, and so this time he called in some steroids for me. So hopefully that takes care of it. But I've taken a couple of them, and so far nothing that I've taken has done anything to help. Thank you, Janice. I appreciate that. Susan, it wasn't that bad to have done. And I mean, I hurt this bad, although I was really hurting just when I woke up. Like if I woke up in the middle of the night, I was in agony, or if I woke up in the morning, I was in agony. So something about that laying down was causing the pain. But I was okay when I was up, so this is different. But I mean, what they did was fairly traumatic, so I expect to be in pain. Hopefully it just fades away. Cheryl had one done. She doesn't complain about her teeth anymore, so evidently it goes away at some point. Misty is on with Jimmy's phone. Somebody over on YouTube. There are some people on YouTube, but they have not yet said hello. So hello to the YouTube folks. They gave me something mild, Susan. You know, it's the age of the opioid crisis, and places don't give out medication like they used to. So they did not give me enough pain meds, but at least for me. But I don't like pain. I'm I have a very low pain tolerance. I've told all my friends, if you've ever got any deep dark secrets that you don't want tortured out of me, don't ever tell them to me, because if they just talk about, you know, like clipping my fingernails too closely, I'm telling them everything. Dorothy Collier, good to see you this evening. Thank you, Sue from St. Joe Mo. Glad you're here too. We are, if you want to prepare any kind of online things you can read at the same time, we're basically gonna we'll do a very short recap on what we talked about last week. Then we're going to look at Genesis 26 verse 34, which is the last two verses before we get to Genesis 27. It's a little interlude. Just want to make sure that we understand that Esau has caused his family some problems. Either that or Esau's family are racists. I don't know which, or both. That is kind of for us to look at today. Misty is on Misty's phone now. And it's hot. You agree that it's hot? So even though it's 55 degrees outside, we're about to turn on our air conditioner. It's okay, the church does not pay my electric bill, so. Oh, the AC's already on. Just needs to be dropped down to 69. Oh, that's better. Oh, that was really hot tea. Fortunately, I don't have any kind of, I think I just burned my throat, but fortunately, I don't have any kind of temperature sensitivity with my teeth, so that's good. Yeah, I did mention the last verse as part of it really belongs better with 27. Either that or it's kind of its own separate thing completely. It's going to come into play in chapter 27 much more than it came into play in chapter 26. That is the truth. Pull this a little closer to me, make sure you all can hear me okay. I'm assuming volume's pretty good. I like my new setup for sound. What I don't like is the setup for sound at church. I'm ready to record and even stream possibly services at church, but we have a weird feedback noise coming from the sound system, so I got to fix that. Thanks, Ben. All right, it is 7:08. We will, I feel like NPR. It's 8 minutes after the hour. Coming up next, we have Jonathan Millett with this study on the 27th chapter of Genesis. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Cheryl always told me I had a face that was meant for radio. Or maybe, was it voice? I think it was face. Maybe it was voice. I do not have a radio voice. Definitely radio face. Okay. One more minute and we're going to get going. Seriously. It hurts. Aw, Ben, thank you very much. I just beat you by like a few seconds. But that was an outstanding reminder, and I appreciate it very much. That's the kind of keeping me on my toes I need. Like the purple in the background, I changed it just to be different. All right, so what happened in chapter 26? In chapter 26, there was a famine in the land, as there often is. And so Isaac went to Gerar, where Abimelech was, and God said, "Hey, I know your family, and when food's hard to find, y'all go down to Egypt. You really should stay out of Egypt. I'm not going to tell you why right now, but someday you're going to go down to Egypt, and it's going to be really hard to get out. So let's just stay out of Egypt." And so he told them to stay in Gerar and to live as foreigners in the land of Abimelech. And so I have no idea where Isaac got this idea from, but he was worried that people would kill him because his wife, Rebecca, was smoking hot. And so he lied to everybody. And again, I don't know where he would get such an idea, but he said that she was his sister. Of course, they are related somehow. Um, she's why is she related through the Ishmael line? Why do I forget this? Do you remember? Was Rebecca related? You don't remember, or I'm wrong? I'm only interested because Ishmael just keeps coming back into the picture. Rebecca's brother was Laban the Aramean, and she was the granddaughter of Milcah and Nahor, the brother of Abraham. So no, I don't think she did come from the Ishmael line. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. Sorry that I forgot that detail. I wasn't sure. And the reason that the Ishmael line is often presented as sort of in a negative light, as sort of there's going to be a lot of fighting within the family of Israel um, up until 2022 or so, possibly further if you count Christians as the sort of the new Israel. Um, and I think that that's represented a bit in sort of the relationship between Isaac and Ishmael, even though it did not seem to be adversarial in and of itself. They were still sort of on two separate lines of things. And, as God promised to Ishmael's mother, Hagar, Ishmael would have his own line. His descendants would be more numerous than the number of stars in the heaven. Very similar promise that he made to Abraham about his progeny. And we're going to see that again in a way, but now they're definitely, when we talk about Esau and we talk about Jacob, there's quite a bit more animosity, as we will see. And remember, Jacob is, and I won't wait for you to say the answer because I know we're on a 14-second delay, but Jacob is Israel. That's come up quite a bit lately in preaching too. So keep that in mind. Where is Jennifer, Susan? Need to call her and tell her to get online. Luana, good evening to you. Sorry I didn't get to talk to you very much today. We have to keep our dogs locked apart from each other because they fight far too violently. Okay, so she's working 7:14. Okay, guys got to get their hairs cut. I know how it is. Okay, so back to so let's remember this tidbit. Sarah did not want Isaac to marry a Hittite woman. The Hittites and the Canaanites are the same people, by the way, as long as you want to keep that kind of in your head. No, you thought. I don't. Nope, I don't. I actually I did my hair yesterday. Um, what did I just say? Literally, what did I say? My wife doesn't even know what I said. Anybody remember what I just said? It was important. Oh, Sarah didn't want Isaac to marry a Hittite woman, a Canaanite woman, because they're nothing but trouble. Those nasty Canaanites. It does sound very racist. But we're going to see a bit of that in the beginning of the Israelite people because they are so often set against those who are in towns, kingdoms next to them, that they end up kind of tying very close together. They become the remnant after they leave Egypt, and at that point, one of God's laws is that they should keep to themselves so that the remnant could grow strong. So we can't really, I joke that they're racists, and I'm not really joking, but it's not the same kind of issue as today, or maybe it is. I really don't know, but it's important. Okay, so that's basically that happened. That's a fact that I want you to keep on your mind. And then in chapter 25, we had the birth of Jacob and Esau. And while Rebecca, Isaac's wife, Jacob and Esau's mother, was pregnant, the twins fought so much inside of her that she said, life's not even worth living. But God said to her this oracle, okay, and this is going to become very important. And we talked a little bit, if you'll recall, sort of about this brings into a lot of free will kind of questions. Like, since God said this was going to happen, did it have to happen? Did God say that it would happen so that in this particular case, Rebecca specifically would help ensure that it happened? Was she an agent of God's will in this? And what does it mean to be an agent of God's will? When you know the will of God, do the ends justify the means? That's a question that we'll be thinking about today quite a bit. I'm going to try to fix something. Hang on. Okay. Nothing bad happened. That's good. But this oracle said, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples born of you shall be divided. The one shall be stronger than the other. The elder shall serve the younger. Okay, so we don't know exactly what God means by the one shall be stronger than the other. Well, let me rephrase that. We don't know who exactly God means when he says the one shall be stronger than the other. Esau is physically stronger than Jacob, but Jacob is mentally stronger than Esau. Jacob's family desires, family bond, his dedication to family are they appear to be stronger, but his willingness to backstab his family is his present family is very strong as well. So that line is definitely a mystery, or perhaps it's a dual statement. But here's what God says to Rebekah: the elder shall serve the younger. That is not ambiguous. That is very clear. He's saying that eventually, when the time comes, Esau will serve Jacob. That's not the normal way that things will happen, would happen, as we will find out today. Everybody with me? I'll continue while I wait for your answer. So, if you'll recall, Esau was out hunting and he came in and he was really hungry, and Jacob was cooking, and Esau said, "Give me some of that red stuff, so I'm famished." So they called him Red from that point on. Just silly nicknames. And Jacob said, yeah, I'll give you some of this, but just give me your birthright. And Esau said, that's stupid. I'm going to die anyway if I don't eat. So yeah, take the stupid birthright. I don't want it. And he doesn't seem to care about the birthright. And what is the birthright? What does the birthright mean? Well, the birthright, the right of the eldest child is to lead the family when the father is gone, to be the new patriarch of that family. Women had very little power or agency in public view. As we see throughout the scriptures, they often pull a lot of strings in the background, which I suspect was the way all the way until recent times when women started being given, after having fought for it, some of their own agency. But the saying behind every good man is a even better woman, right? So I think that gets us caught up. I'm sorry to take 10 minutes to talk about what we talked about before, but when we're going through so much at a time, I want to make sure that we get everything. So this ends chapter 26, verse 34. When Esau was 40 years old, he married Judith, daughter of Beri the Hittite, again a Canaanite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, again a Canaanite, the very thing that Rebecca didn't want, or sorry, Sarah didn't want for her son Isaac, which is why they went and found Rebecca, is what Esau did. So Esau didn't really seem to care. And it says they made life bitter. So these Canaanite women made life bitter for Isaac and Rebecca. Okay, on to some new stuff. When Isaac was old and his eyes were dim so that he could not see, he called his elder son Esau and said to him, "My son." And he answered, "Here I am." He said, "See, I am old. I do not know the day of my death, but it's imminent," is the implication. "So take your weapons, your quiver and your bow, and go out into the field and hunt game for me." Remember, he loved Esau because Esau could go out and hunt game and cook it, and Isaac loved game, and that's why he liked Esau best, I guess. That's the information that we have. And then he says, "Then prepare for me the savory food, such as I like, and bring it to me to eat, so that I may bless you before I die." Now, I don't fully understand what this blessing is, and neither does anybody else. Some people have some guesses, but I'm not too interested in guesses when they don't really inform us of anything, and they don't. The thing that seems to be important is that this blessing is a ritual, okay? This blessing is a ritual, and part of that ritual is eating, breaking bread together. So to speak, and also literally. And if that brings to your mind sort of the communal act that Christ does as he gives us the Last Supper, then that's probably a little bit intentional. Okay, so the eating together is part of this blessing. What this blessing does is sort of seal in the, and again, I'm guessing a little bit, but I'm only guessing so far as I want to make it all coherent together. The blessing seems to seal in what is part of the birthright. So in the final blessing, the father would say to the child, you are the future of this family. Your brothers will serve you, and it's sort of the passing of the mantle on from father to eldest son, or at least the son who has the birthright. And the birthright could be transferred. That was something that could happen. So what you need to know at this point is that evidently Isaac doesn't know that the birthright has been transferred. He thinks Esau still has the birthright, and Esau is okay with Isaac thinking that because he wants the blessing. I think he thinks, who cares if I gave Jacob the birthright? As long as I get the blessing, I've got everything that I want. So what we're going to go into this chapter thinking is that Jacob is this charlatan that steals everything from Esau, and Esau is this, hey, Kim, good to see you. Glad you're home from work and glad you're able to join us. It would be easy to look at this and say that Jacob is this evil person and Esau is this righteous person who was just robbed of all this. But remember, let's go back a little bit. Jacob really cares about the future of this family, and Esau doesn't seem to care about the future of the family. Maybe he does, but he doesn't seem to care. Um, I mean, I've been pretty hungry, and I wouldn't sell my birthright for it. I don't really have a birthright, but if I had one, I wouldn't sell it just to get something to eat. Plus, if I were that much bigger than my younger brother, I'd probably just knock him on the ground and take the food and eat it. I mean, I don't know. You can tell I grew up as an only child, but that's what Brennan would do if he came home and he was hungry and Connor had cooked something and Brennan said, "Hey, give me that food." If Connor said no, he'd end up on the floor and Brennan would end up eating. So, anyway, now Rebecca, remember, behind every good man is an even better woman. Rebecca was listening when Isaac spoke to his son Esau. Not their son Esau, his son Esau. Because remember, Rebecca likes Jacob. Isaac likes Esau best. So when Esau went to the field to hunt for game and bring it, Rebecca said to her son Jacob, "I heard your father say to your brother Esau, 'Bring me game and prepare for me savory food to eat, that I may bless you before the Lord before I die.'" So also important. I have no idea what that means, Sugoff from St. Jomo. Sounds like a chant that you might make at a football game against the other crowd. You'll have to explain that one to me. Um, so your father told Esau to bring me game and prepare savory food to eat, so that I may bless you before the Lord before I die. So now we know this blessing not only sort of seals in the birthright, but it happens before God. It sounds to me like it's fairly sacramental. This would not correlate to any kind of sacrament that we have now. I guess actually it would. If I had to tie it to one, the closest that I could, I would call this almost in a way ordination. It's not. Okay, don't get me wrong. This is not a substitute for ordination, but what happens in ordination is the laying on of hands for someone to be set aside to do something um, special in the eyes of God, separate in the eyes of God. We're all called to do special things in the eyes of God, but set aside to do something separate. And so this sort of laying on of the proverbial hands, the blessing, in a way, I mean, we could understand it as a sacrament that one day would become ordination. That's probably not the best way to look at it, and it's probably not important that we even go down that route. Um, but I think it's sacramental. What is a sacrament? An outward and visible sign of an inward and spiritual grace. It's something that you do physically on the outside to show something that's happened on the inside. So part of this birthright that happens is when men die, their sons take over the family. They're responsible for the family. And so before God, there's this outward and visible sign, this blessing that has this meal that sort of conveys this internal thing that happens where the child with the birthright has that sealed within them and they become the leader of the family. Now, the issue here that we need to remember is that Esau doesn't have the birthright. But Isaac doesn't seem to know this. Now, why wouldn't Isaac know? Well, Esau is probably too embarrassed to tell Isaac about it. I mean, he really threw away his birthright for nothing, right? And Jacob might be afraid to tell him because, he got it sort of in a somewhat devious, intentional way, probably. He at least took advantage of Esau when he was vulnerable to get it. But this is what Rebecca says to her son, Jacob. See, I like this. When it's Esau, it's his son, and now that it's Rebekah, it's her son Jacob. I heard your father say to your brother Esau, bring me game, prepare me savory food to eat, so that I may bless you before the Lord before I die. Therefore, my son, obey my word as I command you. So your father commanded Esau, now I'm commanding you, go to the flock, easy hunting in the flock, right? Get me 2 choice kids. How hungry is Isaac on his deathbed that he needs to eat 2 sheep or lambs? I guess he really liked lamb chops. Get me 2 choice kids so that I may prepare from them savory food for your father, such as he likes. And you shall take it to your father to eat, so that he may bless you before he dies. But Jacob said to his mother, hey, this is Esau's, my brother Esau is a hairy man, and I'm a man of smooth skin. What if my father feels me and thinks that I'm mocking him and brings a curse on me and not a blessing? This is something that, this was the promise to Abraham, right? That God made, whoever you bless, I will bless, and whoever you curse, I will curse. Sound familiar? Jeff and Jill are here after watching their 7-year-old grandchild play basketball. Aren't kids associated with goats? Yeah, I don't know. Probably. I would think so. What is a baby lamb called? A kid is the proper name for a baby goat. Oh, a lamb is a baby sheep. So yeah, it's a goat. Correct. But not incredibly relevant, other than my lamb chop joke is now completely ruined. But that's okay. He still wants 2 goats, so that okay. Jacob said to the mothers, look, my Esau is hairy and I'm very smooth skinned. Perhaps my father will feel me. He'll think I'm mocking him and he'll bring a curse on me and not a blessing. His mother said to him, let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my word and go get them for me. So curses and blessings can be transferred. That's something that we learn right here. Just like a birthright can be transferred, a curse and a blessing can be transferred, evidently. So he went and he got them and he brought them to his mother, and his mother prepared savory food such as his father loved. We've got the poetic author back, can you tell? The poetic repetitive father. Then Rebekah took the best garments of her elder son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them on the younger son Jacob. Because remember, the elder will serve the younger. So what exactly is she doing here? Well, we know what. Why is she doing it? Well, we know why, because she likes Jacob better, but how does God view this whole thing? That's the question. She put the skins of the kids on his hand and the smooth part on his neck. Maybe that's why she needed 2 goats, because she needed enough to make him a hairy costume. Then she handed the savory food and the bread that she had prepared to her son Jacob. So he went to his father and said, my father? My father. And he said, here I am. Who are you, my son? Jacob said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me to. Now sit up and eat of my game so that you may bless me. So Isaac is suspicious. He says to his son, how is it that you found it so quickly, my son? He answered, because the Lord your God granted me success. Whoa. That seems like crossing a line, doesn't it? But did he really lie? I am the king of rationalization. Do you disagree with that? Nope, she does not disagree. Did he really lie? How did you find this game so quickly, my son? Because the Lord your God granted me success. I mean, that's kind of the truth. He went out, found a couple of goats, came back in. I don't know. Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Come near that I may feel you, my son, to know whether you are really my son Esau or not." He's suspicious. So Jacob went up to his father Isaac, who felt him and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but his hands are the hands of Esau. He did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. He blessed him. The blessing is done. He blessed him. And then he said, "Are you really my son Esau?" Now, why does he do the blessing if he's not sure? Why even ask after he does the blessing and he's already been very obviously concerned about it? Why is he still asking? It's done. "Are you really my son Esau?" He answered him, "I am." Then he said, "Bring it to me that I may eat of my son's game and bless you." He knows. He knows it's not Esau. He doesn't say, "Bring it to me that I may eat of your game and bless you." He says, "Bring it to me that I may eat of my son's game and bless you." I think he knows. It's possible he doesn't, but I think he does. So he brought it to him and he ate, and he brought him wine and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, "Come near and kiss me, my son." So he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his garments, and he blessed him. So I don't know if this is a new blessing, the continuing of the blessing, or exactly what is going on. But anyway, this is the blessing. "Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field that the Lord has blessed. May God give you the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth and plenty of grain and wine. Let people serve you and nations bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be everyone who blesses you." Again, that Abrahamic promise. "I will bless everyone you bless and curse everyone whom you curse." So did he know or not? That is a question. He's going to act like he didn't know, okay? But that doesn't mean that he didn't know. I don't know. Maybe because Jacob cared enough to go to such lengths. Yeah, I don't refute that that's a possibility. I mean, if we were to know for a fact that he knew this was not Esau, then we do have to come up with a reason of why he blessed him, because he doesn't know the actual truth yet. To the best of our knowledge at this point, Isaac does not know about the oracle that Rebekah heard about the older serving the younger. So maybe he did decide that if he could go through all of this, maybe he knew he couldn't do it alone, and his mother must have helped him, and this would please her. Maybe he's mad at Esau because, remember, Esau's wives gave both Isaac and Rebekah grief and made their life bitter. I don't know. Let's keep going. As soon as Isaac finished blessing Jacob, when Jacob had scarcely gone out from the presence of his father Isaac, his brother Esau came in from his hunting. He also prepared savory food and brought it to his father. And he said to his father, "Let my father sit up and eat of his son's game so that you may bless me." His father said to him, "Who are you?" He answered, "I'm your firstborn son, Esau." He's quick to bring up the fact that he's his firstborn son, but that doesn't mean anything anymore. The fact that he's the firstborn means nothing. Being the firstborn gave him the birthright, but he gave away the birthright. So now it almost seems like it's Esau who's trying to trick his father into giving him the blessing, even though he already gave away his birthright. So is it Esau who is the deceiver here? I'm your firstborn son, Esau. Then Isaac trembled violently and said, who was it then that hunted game and brought it to me, and I ate it all before you came, and I blessed him? Yes, and blessed he shall be. Well, he knows who it is, right? I mean, we proposed that maybe he knew all along, but he certainly knows now. He had the voice of Jacob, right? And why in this same breath does he say, he came in before you and I've blessed him? Yes, and blessed he shall be. I mean, didn't we kind of establish that these blessings can be transferred? When Esau heard his father's words, he cried out with an exceedingly great and bitter cry, and said to his father, bless me, me also, father. But Isaac said, your brother came deceitfully, and he has taken away your blessing. And Esau said, Jacob's the perfect name for him, for he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and now he's taken away my blessing. So now he confesses to Isaac that he took away his birthright, which means the blessing didn't belong to him anyway. So Esau, here's the thing about this story. Makes it seem like Jacob's the bad guy and Esau's the good guy. But really, none of them are good. And why would they be? Look at their father, look at their grandfather, look at their great uncles and look at where they came from. Look at the way Isaac lies about his wife, the way Abraham lied about his wife. They twisted the truth to get whatever they wanted. That's been their way from the very beginning. I think we're back to the same point I've been trying to make this entire time we started talking about Abraham, is that they're all schmucks. And yet God uses them anyway. And therein lies the hope for us. Then Esau said, have you not reserved a blessing for me? Isaac answered Esau, I've already made him your lord, and I've given him all his brothers as servants, and with grain and wine I've sustained him. What can I do for you, my son? Esau said to his father, have you only one blessing, father? Bless me also, father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Then his father Isaac answered him. And here I got to tell you, we've got one of these bizarre translations of Hebrew that this could mean 2 different things, but because it's different than than Jacob's blessing, I'm going to read it like the NRSV does because I think it's probably the more accurate one. He says, see, away from the fatness of the earth shall your home be, and away from the dew of heaven on high. So for Isaac, he got the fatness of the earth, and he got the rain from heavens. He got everything that he needed. He says, by your sword you shall live, and you shall serve your brother. But when you break loose, you shall break his yoke from your neck. So he gets a little bit of a blessing, but he doesn't get the things that should have gone along with his birthright, but he didn't deserve them because he already gave up his birthright. This is not a case of one being good and one being bad. This is a case of both being fallen. And what do we think about Rebecca? What did Rebecca do? Did she manipulate this whole situation? Did she, over the course of the years, stir up animosity between Jacob and Esau? Did she try to turn Isaac away or from Esau, or did she know that that was a lost and hopeless thing, and she just waited for the right moment and she helped Jacob trick him by making Isaac's favorite meal and doing all this stuff? Did she do this because she loved Jacob more than she loved Esau? Or did she do this because God told her this is the way it would be? God said, the elder shall serve the younger. The only way that happens is if Jacob gets the birthright and if Jacob gets the blessing. So is Rebecca working as an agent of God's will, ensuring that the oracle of God spoken to her while the twins were in her womb fighting would come true? Is this not just amazingly deep? Now Esau hated Jacob. Yeah, Esau broke tradition. It wasn't necessarily tradition, Ben. It was just something that his mother definitely, or his grandmother Sarah, didn't want to happen for Isaac. So she sent him back to find a relative of hers so that Isaac would never marry a Hittite woman. But yeah, that's you're 100% right, on the right track. 100% on the right track. We don't have the law yet that says that the Israelites need to not intermingle with outside non-Israelites. So I guess I just want to be careful about how we use the word tradition, although it might be 100% right. We just don't have that in the scripture yet. But it is. I mean, you are 100% on the right track, and we'll validate that in just a second as I get to this passage of scripture. Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing with which his father had blessed him. And Esau said to himself, the days of mourning for my father are approaching. Then I will kill my brother Jacob. But the words of her elder son Esau were told to Rebekah. So she sent and called her younger son Jacob and said to him, your brother Esau is consoling himself by planning to kill you. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice. Flee at once to my brother Laban in Haran and stay with him a while until your brother's fury turns away, until your brother's anger against you turns away and he forgets, or at least forgives, what you have done to him. Then I will send and bring you back from there. Why should I lose both of you in one day? Now, the accepted translation here is that both of you refers to both Esau and Jacob. But it's going to happen on the day that Isaac dies. And so I wonder if both might not be Isaac, her husband, and Jacob, her favorite son. The theory about it being Jacob and Esau is that if Esau kills Jacob, then Esau would be put to death as well. But there's a little ambiguity there. So then Rebekah said to Isaac, and this is I don't think she's lying here. I think that she is that everybody's protecting Isaac, right? She doesn't go to Isaac and say, "Hey, here's what happened. Kind of an unfortunate situation, but what's done is done, bygones." But Esau says he's going to kill Jacob, so we need to get Jacob out of here. She doesn't do that. She says to Isaac, "I'm weary of my life because of the Hittite women, these Canaanites. If Jacob marries one of the Hittite women, such as one of these, one of the women of the land, what good will my life be to me?" So that's what she's afraid of. So that was the only reason I pulled back a little bit from the idea of breaking tradition, Ben. But again, you're definitely on the right track, because let's continue. Isaac called Jacob and blessed him. He's just blessing Jacob all over the place. He's not even mad anymore. And he charged him, "You shall not marry one of the Canaanite women." Do you see, for a woman who I have said several times had no agency of her own, Rebecca has nothing but agency. She's pulling all the strings here. She's doing everything. Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him, "You shall not marry one of the Canaanite women. Go at once to the Padan Aram house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take as wife from there one of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother." They just got to keep it in the family, don't they? It's taboo today. It wasn't taboo then. It was the norm then. DNA was cleaner, whatever. We just have to kind of let that go. And then he's going to give sort of this Abrahamic blessing again. "May God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and numerous, that you may become a company of peoples. May he give to you the blessing of Abraham, to you and to your offspring with you, so that you may take possession of the land where you now live as an alien, land that God gave to Abraham." Thus Isaac sent Jacob away, and he went to Padan Aram to Laban, son of Bethuel, the Aramean, or not Armenian, the Aramean, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob, and Esau's mother. And we are going to stop there, but the next thing that's going to happen, let's go on, just a little bit more. Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padan Aram to take a wife from there, and that as he blessed him, he charged him, "You shall not marry one of the Canaanite women," and that Jacob had obeyed his father and his mother and gone to Padan Aram. So when Esau saw that the Canaanite women did not please his father Isaac, doesn't care about Rebekah, right? He cares about Isaac. When he saw that the Canaanite women did not please his father Isaac, Isaac went to Ishmael. Ishmael's back in the picture again. And took Mahalath, daughter of Abraham's son Ishmael, and sister of Nebaioth, to be his wife, in addition to the wives he had. So now he balances out the two Canaanite women with two women from his own family in order to please his father, at least, and presumably his mother, although he might be pretty mad at his mom at this point, too. And although Isaac says that his time is drawing near, he's actually going to live for quite a few more chapters. So that's where we will end today. You just see how this is all interwoven, and how it's like a brilliantly written, and this is one of the best stories in the Bible. This is one of the most well-written stories in the Bible. It's full of intrigue and plot twists and turns, and you think the good guy is the bad guy, and then you think the bad guy is the good guy, and then you realize that maybe this was just God's will all along, and Rebecca was actually acting as an agent of God, and everything that happened had to happen, and you end up just knowing nothing except for these people are not like, it's a soap opera. They're not great, amazing people. They're not demons and they're not saints. They're just somewhere in the middle, and God uses them to start a revolution of theological implication that plays out to today. And if God can use them, then God can use us. Because we are neither demons nor angels. We are somewhere in between. And God always finds a way to use the in-between. Amen? Do you guys like this faster faster pace. Keep this up. We'll be out of this by 2023. All right, that is our lesson for today. Thank you all for being here. Sunday's going to be fun. I'm gonna back off the deep sermons I've preached the last couple of Sundays and try to have a little more fun. Sunday after that is going to be the Super Bowl sermon commercial Sunday. And then I think the Sunday after that is the day that Dr. Shelley O'Neill is coming to present her Fanny Crosby. So please come to church for the next several weeks. In fact, every Sunday for the rest of your life, but especially the next few weeks, okay? Thank you, Susan. I will definitely take care of myself the best that I can. I don't even know what to do right now, but sleep probably will help. All right, everybody. God bless, Godspeed, and from the bottom of my heart, thanks for watching.